All right, welcome everybody to today's webinar entitled Local Search and Facebook Advertising in a Mobile World, How Mobile Campaigns Drive Offline Sales. My name is Blair Symes. I'm the Director of Content Marketing here at Dialog Tech. A few housekeeping items to go over before we get started. If you wish to tweet or post anything on social media about the webinar, please use the hashtag #LocalAdsWebinar. I know we always get questions about whether or not the webinar will be recorded and if the slides are available for download. So yes to both. If you registered, and since you're here, you definitely did, I will be emailing you within 24 hours a link to watch the recording or share the recording with your colleagues if you wish. If at that time you do want to see a PDF of the slides, just please respond to that email and I'll be happy to send you a link. We've got a very full agenda here today, but hopefully if there's time for some Q&A at the end, we'd be happy to answer some of your questions. If you have them, please use the chat box you see in the lower left-hand corner of your screen to enter questions throughout the webinar, and hopefully we'll get to answer as many of them as possible at the end. So let me introduce our presenters today. So of course, my name is Blair. I run content marketing here at Dialog Tech, and if you're not familiar with Dialog Tech, we're the leading provider of the call attribution platform for marketers. My special guest today is Ahmed El-Wasimi, and he is the product owner at Acquisio. And if you're not familiar with Acquisio, they are the leading performance marketing platform for search, social, and display campaigns. So let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to begin with just a couple slides that set the stage for the importance of mobile in terms of local advertising. So the first slide just shows some statistics from last year around the explosion of smartphone adoption in the United States. So you can see that over 64% of US adults today own smartphones, and you can see sort of a breakdown of some of the demographics that you might be interested in depending on what your business is. Two of the ones that I like to call out is that first, in terms of ages, over 80% of adults between 18 and 50 own smartphones today. And the last bar on the far right, you can see that in terms of revenue, in terms of income that they make, people who are making over $75,000 a year, 84% of those people own smartphones. But it's not just the adoption and the amount of smartphones in the market that makes smartphones so important to marketers. It's the way people are using them to shop locally across different industries. You can see some statistics here. People are using their smartphones more and more in the research process of a purchase. So you can see how 45% of shopping journeys across industries contain at least one action on a mobile device. 64% of shoppers anticipate doing more research on their smartphones this year. So that number will continue to grow. What's really interesting about mobile devices in particular is how they're being used in stores or on car dealer lots in terms of researching purchases. So you can see on the right, 82% of shoppers will consult their smartphones about a purchase they're about to make in a store. And 63% of shoppers who are on a dealership lot will look at their smartphones to price shop and compare. So we'll have some tips later on about ways that you can optimize your local search marketing to take advantage of all of these trends. I think one point at the bottom to note is that while mobile is growing and e-commerce is obviously growing, 90% of retail commerce still happens offline. So people who are doing all this research and shopping on their mobile devices are still, for the most part, overwhelmingly making their purchase in the store or over the phone, depending on what your industry is. And you can see how that's being reflected, the importance of mobile, in the shift in digital ad spending from the desktop to the mobile device. So you can see some statistics at the bottom left. First, for local search, 60% of local searches today are done on mobile devices. So searches for a business within the area of the searcher, most of those are taking place on mobile devices. And you can see how the reflection of ad spend there. So 63% of search ad spending now is going to be mobile in 2016. And Facebook, which Ahmed will talk about in a second, 87% of people are now accessing Facebook on their mobile device. And a large percentage, up to 30% of those people are only accessing Facebook on mobile. It's the only platform they use. So it's very important that you, when you run Facebook advertising, to target mobile, and you can see how that spend is being reflected in the 80% stat on the right. Now on the far right, you can see how not just local search and Facebook, but across all digital ad spending, how that whole shift is moving from desktop to mobile. This year, eMarketer says that 74% of all digital ad spending will be targeting a mobile device. And when it comes to local, that ad spending is quite significant and growing. So $10 billion were spent in the US on mobile local advertising specifically last year, and that number by 2020 will triple to $30 billion. So there's a lot of excitement and a lot of spending going on, local and mobile. So you need to be able to optimize your campaigns to take advantage of those trends. So let's get right into it. I'm going to pass it off to my partner Ahmed, who will talk about Facebook ad trends for local.
Perfect. Thank you, Blair. So here, using Facebook ads to really drive local revenue. Deciding how, even where, and when to advertise your business online can be a very daunting task, as we all know. Now with Google AdWords, they offer really prominent, effective, and profitable search ad campaigns, and many businesses neglect to consider the value of other advertising channels. So that's where we'll enter Facebook. And this is what we'll go over today. What ad types really matter to your local business. And we're going to touch on local awareness ads. And then some local hacks for your local business and how to really get some people into your store, even at a tight budget. Our goal for today, we want to really make you feel confident that you can properly grow your local brand on a small budget using Facebook's local awareness ads. There's some uncertainty about return on investment, as that is the key barrier to businesses buying more ads on any platform. But while TV, print, and billboards offer almost no way of attributing sales to ad views, and most online ads can only track online sales that came straight from ad clicks, Facebook really is now stepping it up and offering way more than that. So why must you absolutely be advertising on Facebook? The tools Facebook right now has for businesses make it the best place in mobile to drive people to stores and drive real business results. You want to start measuring the true impact of your social ad spend and return on investment, and how that impacts on traffic and sales. And for the last point, you want to make sure you want to build a local brand that is in touch with the physical community around you and not just around the globe. And some quick stats here I would like to share with you, because let's face it, Facebook isn't going anywhere. They've increased their revenue between 2012 and 2013 by 55%. Percentage of social marketers here that are using Facebook advertising, 92%. And then for the share of worldwide mobile internet ad revenue in 2014, we're looking at 22%. And that Facebook's mobile revenue, as Blair just talked about, is really increasing, and the percentage of total mobile revenue coming from their total ad revenue is 82%. So going from global to local. Now that Facebook has conquered the globe, basically businesses need to target communities around them, and now people more and more are championing their local businesses. But what is the challenge? Is how do we really know? How do you know what people are coming to your business as a result of the Facebook marketing efforts? So it is possible, and a lot of people thought it wouldn't be possible, but Facebook has really been doing a lot of great efforts in making that very possible for you. So you really want to make sure here that you experiment with all the ad types that Facebook offers. And as you can see here, there's ad types that increase awareness, ones that increase for consideration, and ones for conversion. And the ones that are labeled here, there's an orange dot here, are the ones that you really want to be experimenting with. They're the standard ad types for any business. But here are the red ones I'm going to be touching on in more detail, as it really can give a boost for local businesses. So starting here with ad types that drive traffic and leads for your product or services. Dynamic product ads. These ads are available for placements in the newsfeed, the right column, and mobile. And dynamic product ads are like remarketing display ads on steroids. They target users based on past actions or inactions on your website or application with a perfectly timed ad. Now all you have to do is upload your product catalog to Facebook and double check that your Facebook pixel is installed correctly on your site's pages, and Facebook basically will handle all the automation and retargeting. Perfect ad type for e-commerce and retailers. And now the multi-product carousel ads available on the newsfeed and mobile. They came out with this about 2 years ago, and the carousel ad, which is extremely useful also for e-commerce advertisers who are looking to promote multiple products from their store, or for marketers looking to promote different posts and offers to see what works and attracts leads with their audience. And then we have lead ads. Lead ads are a very, very popular type of ad introduced about a year ago. These ads are fantastic for, you might guess it, leads. So unlike many of Facebook's previous ad types, users don't have to leave Facebook at all to fill out these forms. So within the ad, the email and their name is already pre-filled because Facebook already has this information from you, and all the user needs to do is review and submit. And then we have Canvas. Canvas is also a very new type of ad. Facebook made the format available to all advertisers back in February. And now on June 22nd of this month, it will become available for regular non-sponsored posts from Facebook pages, which you can create through Facebook's Power Editor. And Canvas is basically an interactive ad, unlike any we've seen before. If you've come across any of them, it kind of gives the same feeling as a Snapchat ad. It keeps users on Facebook, so there's no external links, and it's currently only on mobile due to how we interact with mobile devices. So with Canvas, your potential or previous customers can swipe through a carousel of images, tilt the image in different directions, zoom in, zoom out, all with their fingertips, and it also loads 10 times faster than standard mobile web applications. Coca-Cola and Burberry were among the first brands to experiment with these ads, and also Wendy's as well, and they've been really achieving a lot of success. Average user who stays on the ad is like 70 seconds. It's absolutely crazy. Next, we go on to types of ads that drive visitors to your store or event. So we have an event. An event ad is a great way for event organizers to attract more visitors. So if you want to boost the reach of your event, use this ad unit with the right targeting options. And there's two types of ads actually now within event that Facebook made an upgrade to the API. So there's one type that will increase awareness, which will drive responses for your event. And then there's a second type which will send people to your website or app to buy the tickets. And then you have the offer type of ad, which is perfect for brick and mortar stores owners who want to attract people to their stores. You create an offer. You'll need your page to have at least 50 likes. And once your offer ad is live, any user who clicks on your ad and redeems the offer will receive an email containing the details and terms of use. Now, how can you help people find your business, your local store or local business, and you want people to find your business to come and buy your business? And how would you do that? With local awareness ads. You can target people within a specific range of your business locations and show every person the address or phone number of the location nearest to them, even as part of the large regional or national campaign. Local awareness ads are really powered by a single creative template, enabling you to easily create local ads for all your business locations in just a matter of a few clicks. To do that, you want to create and manage your if you have multiple locations, you manage all these through your business manager. And so how it works, you select to reach people near your business option in the objective section, and then in the awareness, under awareness, where it says reach people near your business. And then step 2, you select your location and segment by age or gender. You enter your budget and you upload up to 6 graphics. That's it. Until now, advertisers had to really vaguely correlate sales increases with local ad buys, and it's been very difficult to quickly and effectively measure the impact of advertising on store visits. So, which is why now you can really measure store visits with local awareness ads. This was a new update about 2 weeks ago. It's a new metric in ads reporting, and advertisers can now better understand their store traffic after running local awareness ads, complementing current ads reporting to provide a more complete picture. And Facebook now also offers store visit measurement and optimization for local awareness objective. So it will help you gain a real-time understanding. Store visit reporting allows you to gain a real-time understanding of your campaign performance, understand ad effectiveness so you can optimize the creative delivery and targeting of your campaigns, and gain insight into store or market level differences in store visits to inform planning of future campaigns. They also offer different call to action buttons. Call now. They can text. You can text now as well, so it takes you straight to the messenger, and you can actually text. But the most popular one right now is the get directions. And you also, with the new update, besides the store measurements, you also have the ability to connect store sales to Facebook ad campaigns using the offline conversion API. And advertisers now basically have a way to connect transactions that take place in store or over their phone to their ads. The offline conversions API allows businesses to basically match the transaction data from their customer database or point of sale system to ads reporting, helping them better understand the effectiveness of their ads in real time. This is huge. Businesses can now work with any of the following partners or with Facebook directly. And Blair can also show you how they can do it with conversions later. But so advertisers here can use the offline conversions to see real-time results as transactions occur in store or over the phone, and gain demographic insights about people who purchase and optimize future campaigns. So with this offline conversions API, it's really huge news. You'll be able to optimize your investment and increase spending with confidence, because you're now really able to see that for every dollar of e-commerce revenue you are generating from Facebook ads, you are actually getting an additional, X amount in your brick and mortar stores. So I want to touch on here some local hacks with Facebook ads, particularly local awareness. So first one, you want to use content that is relevant to your audience's location. You really want to be able to use all the blog posts that you have. Make sure that in your ads you put blogs that are relevant to the location and the target market that you're targeting. And these are some example of blog post titles that you can use. Top food trucks that you have to try in your city, just for better targeting options that will get people to convert. And there's no cheaper way to build impressions than local awareness ads. The targeting is definitely meager because you're focusing, but the impact is potentially much larger if you have the right relevant content. And it's definitely very important for you to target your audience and with your internal business objectives. And then finally, just ask yourself: would you read your own content? If not, then you probably want to revisit. The second point here is using reviews. So what qualifies you as a local brand? I believe a good litmus test here is if someone recognizes your business name in the local search engine results. An even better indicator is if you are a local brand, is if someone in your area who wants to go directly to your site when they want to purchase what you're offering. Not only will building a local brand increase your phone calls and forms of submissions, it will increase your close rate too. So as your target market starts to feel that they can trust you. And one advanced tactic for building your brand locally with Facebook awareness ads is to utilize brand reviews. So if you know that reviews are powerful influencers in the buyer journey, the only question you ask yourself is, how do we get more people to see our awesome reviews? And the cheapest way to answer that is by using local awareness ads. Simply find a great review someone left you online. Go and ask that person who left the review if you can use a photo of them. Take the review and summarize it. And then just take the review text and make an overlay over the image, and you can use a tool that Facebook provides to actually review that, and that's it. You get a full picture, as you can see here, of a person with a review, and it really captures people's attention and can increase conversion. On a final note here, is you also want to advertise around major events. So, I'm sure if you've seen some major sporting events, you have all these ads around the arena. I'm sure you probably wanted your business or client's name on the Jumbotron, which is crazy, but like you can actually have the same effect with local awareness ads, but on Facebook. So, what you can do is run your local awareness ads on a lifetime budget. This way, you can say your ads. You can control your scheduling for a time of day and location. So let's pretend we want to market for an event for a hockey game. Use the address of the venue where the game is being played, and then set your ads to start running 30 minutes before the game and 30 minutes after. That way, anyone at the game who meets your demographics will see your ads when they check into Facebook. And now, for this to work really well, make sure to customize your ads with your team's colors and even logo. So yeah, this is here just how the targeting would look like. And another point is you want to add a call to action arrow on your image. And the reason for doing so is it actually grabs attention, and you can increases clicks, which is the ultimate goal. Keep in mind, most local awareness campaigns are not really built for direct conversions. They are best used for awareness, but if they do click, you want to make sure that you have remarketing ads in place to send them to a nice landing page. And finally, is you want to target college campuses. Students are very diverse around college campuses, and if your target market is likely, you'd want to target students around college campuses. You can actually target multiple college campuses across the country. Only need our local stock images, a good copywriter, and a modest budget. And what basically you need to do is create a local awareness ads campaign called College Campuses. Add an ad group for each college campus you're targeting. Within each ad group, aim to have 4 ads. Compile local images that are relevant for each college campus. Craft the copy to overlay on each ad. And there's a tool on Buffer, it's called Pablo, which you can use to also make really cool images with overlays. Look at each college's Facebook group and start to get an idea of what copy would be most relevant. That way you can really target each college campus uniquely. And then using the local details, choose the copy for your text, headline, and news feed description. Launch your campaign and carefully analyze the relevant scores. That's about it.
All right, thanks a lot, Ahmed. Just a reminder to people, I know that was a ton of information, amazing information actually, on how you can use Facebook to drive revenue locally. So if you have any questions that you wanted Ahmed to cover at the end of this, please don't forget to type them into the chat box in the bottom left, and we'll cover as many as we can, time permitting. So now I'd like to turn our attention from Facebook to the local search part of the presentation. So I will talk for a little while about how to use mobile search ads to drive calls, store visits, and sales. So why is local search so important, and why is mobile specifically so important to local search? Well, you can see some statistics here about how the local search volumes are skyrocketing in the US, and how really most of that growth, if not all of that growth, is on mobile devices. So you can see how last year there are almost 82 billion US local search queries made on mobile devices. And by 2019, that number is going to almost double. It's certainly doubled since 2014. So you can see how desktop is sort of remaining flat or tapering off, but mobile search overall is skyrocketing. And the total volume of local searches are skyrocketing as well. So what's great about mobile local search specifically for marketers is that people who are doing searches on their mobile devices locally often have high purchasing intent. You can see some recent statistics from Google here. 76% of people who search on their smartphones for something nearby visit that business within a day. And 28% of those searches result in an actual purchase. So this is a tremendous audience for marketers to target. When people are on the go, they often have high purchasing intent, and when they see your ads, those often do a great job of converting people to make an actual purchase. Now, what I want people to realize, and it's not always intuitive, is that mobile local searches lead to phone call conversions. Up to 53% of mobile shoppers will call a business, and you can see some of the statistics on the bottom. Now, for some, depending on your industry, sometimes that phone call results is the actual purchase. So, for example, insurance companies, 40% of insurance purchases are happening over the phone. So you see all these local agents, from State Farm to to Allstate. You'll see their local storefronts. They have 40% of calls of purchases are happening over the phone. The same thing is true with hotel bookings and healthcare appointments. But even if people aren't buying over the phone, a phone call does still play an important part in the customer journey for many of these industries. So, for example, in the middle, automotive, 20% of people first contact a dealership by calling. Now, they're not buying a car over the phone, but they are calling to make an appointment. It's an extremely important conversion that marketers need to drive and also attribute, and I'll provide some tips on how to do that in a bit. So how do you take advantage of mobile advertising for local? So the first step for search is to create mobile preferred search ads. You can see the stat in the upper right from Bing that says that mobile preferred ads that were made specifically for people on smartphones and mobile devices, get twice the click-through rates as just running your regular desktop ads on mobile. So if mobile is an important audience for you, if local is important, you should definitely consider creating mobile preferred ads. And when you do, make sure that you tailor those ads to speak in the language of mobile and smartphones. So you can see some examples here. Free quote on your phone. Savings in the palm of your hand. This is language that speaks to the person's experience viewing this, since they're viewing it on their smartphones and mobile devices. Obviously, use some of the mobile call ad extensions like call extensions you see there. I'll go into that in a little more detail in a bit. But also make sure that your landing pages that you link to, whether it's the main landing page from the headline or some of the site links you can see at the bottom of the example, lead to a mobile optimized and local optimized landing page. So here are some tips about how to optimize your search campaign specifically for local. Use call extensions like I said in the previous slide, but when you do, make sure you're using local phone numbers. You can see some examples in the middle there. Local phone numbers have been proven to get 3 times as many calls as toll-free 800 numbers. When someone is searching for a local business, they don't want to call an 800 number. They want to call a phone number that has the local area code where they're searching. It makes a huge difference in your conversion. So make sure you use the local number and not the toll-free number. Use call-centric ad language. We already talked about that in the last slide, but you can see some more examples here. We answer calls 24/7 is a great example. Include incentives to call. So get 40% off, free estimates, whatever it is that makes sense for your business. Consider including an incentive to call right in your ad language. Obviously mention the location you're targeting specifically in your ad text and your URL. The more localized your language is, the better the results are the better the clicks and the conversions are. And lastly, enable location extensions for your local stores in Google My Business. So by enabling location extensions, you can see that your ads, if you have multiple locations, can show up in the bottom example within that one ad. For Yamaha, you can see how it's listing some of the Yamaha dealers near where I was running my search in Chicago, and you can see how there's the call number and immediate clicks for people to find directions. So I want to go over some more ad formats that are relevant to local mobile advertising specifically. So the first is the nearby business ad, something that Google rolled out about a year ago, I believe. And they did this in response to the fact, the statistics on the right, which showed that in the past year, the amount of near me searches, people who are searching for businesses near them or nearby, has skyrocketed. You've seen over 100% increase. And almost all of those searches are occurring on smartphones and mobile devices. So in response to that, Google released this format where if you enable your location extensions, you can have your business show up in a search for nearby businesses there. And the ad format resembles that, similar to the organic formats we see over maps for businesses. But in this case, it's top of mind, top of the screen, which is obviously extremely important when it comes to smartphones. People who are running searches have high intent, but they also they want information immediately at their fingertips. They're not going to hunt through multiple pages of search results. They're not going to scroll down to the bottom to see your ads. Make sure your ads are front and center, and this is one way to do that. A second way that I know that's popular, certainly in many industries, are the call-only ads. So here's an example of a search for an electrician that shows a call-only ad. But it depends on what your business is. But people, again, when they're running searches on their smartphones specifically, are on the go. They often don't want to click on an ad and hunt around a landing page or a website to find a phone number. They want that information right away. And a call-only ad is a great way to do that. The only possible conversion path here is a phone call. If someone clicks on anywhere on this ad, a phone call will trigger on their smartphone. So if you're going to run call-only ads, there are a couple tips to consider. The first would be to bid based on the value of a call. Since a phone call is the only conversion path here, make sure that your bidding falls in line with how much a phone call is of value to your business. The second tip would be to bid based on keywords that generate calls. So again, if you have some keywords that you think people search for when they're looking just for more information, it's more of the research phase of a purchase, that might not be the greatest thing for a call-only ad. But if you have keywords that have shown to incentivize a phone call, great idea would be to try a call-only ad campaign. And of course, only run these call-only ads during business hours. Since someone's going to be calling your business, you don't really want to have them call to a phone number where no one's going to answer. So it's a good idea to run these ads during your business hours. Another ad format to consider for local search would be the local inventory ad. You can see an example here on the left. Basically, these ads show actual store inventory to online searches. So I ran a search for bathroom towels. I'm in the process of getting married soon, and we're doing our registry, and I wanted to see what's out there in terms of bathroom towels. And this is what I saw. So I saw my local Sears store was the first ad that showed up, and it showed how what I was looking for was actually in the store. When I clicked on, I can see a little more detail. And at the bottom, you can see the 3 conversion paths, whether, again, it's that phone call, which is very important, or directions to the store, or if you wanted to, you can also buy online. But as you can see from the one example here, Sears saw a 122% increase in store visits from these local inventory ads. So it's a great idea to test if you've got some inventory to promote. If you do that, it's obviously a good idea to geo-target your ads for those stores. And even for your competitor stores. We saw before the stats that showed how people are running searches, comparison shopping, and price shopping in stores now, or on dealership lots for auto. So make sure that you're geo-targeting those people, those dealerships, or your competitors' dealerships or stores with these ads, so you can try to capture and convert, maybe steal some business away from competitor stores. So about a month ago, AdWords released a bunch of new updates targeting, really most of them were for mobile search. Here's one that's relevant for the local market. So AdWords is going to show promoted pin ads in Google Maps. So it's the ability for you to advertise your store location when someone runs a search within Google Maps. You can see the example on the left for Walgreens. There's a purple pin that indicates that this is actually an ad. And then you can see the possibilities of what can appear within that ad. So you can show not just where the store is, but some of the inventory. You can add coupons or some kind of incentive for someone to visit your store and make a purchase. You can also see on the right, there's links to call the store. There's links to visit the store. It's a great way to try to capture some of those Google Maps searches, which are becoming so prominent now. Here's a beta that I found interesting. I'm not sure when they're going to release this, but Google is testing what they're calling table extension. So this is the idea where you can actually list the prices of some of your items in the local stores. So you can see examples here from apartments and from a spa service standpoint. But again, when you're talking about mobile search, the greater real estate that your ad takes up at the top of the screen, the more likely you're going to get that conversion, because people just don't want to scroll through and scroll through different listings and really do a lot of research the way they might do on desktops. That first spot, the spot that's visible, is often the one that gets the conversion. This is a great way where you can list some of the items you have with pricing. You can include a call extension if you want someone to call and see what's available. It's a great opportunity when it's available for geo-targeting, people running searches in local stores for your competitors. Lots of opportunities here. Unfortunately, they say it's not going to be available for hotels and airlines and other businesses where the price of your item fluctuates so much from day to day. But it's something certainly to keep an eye on. So those are some of the ad formats. There are many others specifically for many industries. So auto, for example, has some great ones for OEMs to use. I know there are some for comparison shopping for insurance that are available in some markets. There are also ads available in some markets for home services. So depending on what your industry is, definitely do a little research and dig in to what some of those industry-specific ad formats. I can't go into all of them in the time that we have today, but there are really some great ones to check out. So what I wanted to do next is talk about some of the targeting options for local search, but I picked 3 here. Here's the first 2, and there's one after, that really have ties to Facebook as well. So the first would be remarketing. This is the idea that you can actually run, when people visit your website and don't convert, you can actually run specific search ads or Facebook ads based on that activity. So for example, if somebody visits your auto site for Cadillac and they don't convert, they're just browsing, you can, next time they search for perhaps SUVs or best priced SUVs or top rated SUVs or whatever the category is, you can actually bid specifically and run specific ads for that specific audience. So you can also do the same for Facebook, but it's the idea that based on activity of what somebody does on your site, it's often indicative of a valuable lead. So for example, if they visited your site and called you but didn't become a customer, didn't visit your store, perhaps you want to run specific ads later on. If they didn't call, perhaps you want to run a different set of ads. You can run ads based on the products that they see. But it's just a way to run more targeted and tailored search ads and Facebook ads. So the second option is customer match. This is one that Facebook really pioneered, but lately search engines like Google and Yahoo have jumped on board. And it's the idea that you can upload lists of email addresses and target those people with specific ads, specific bid strategies, specific calls to action and incentives. So for example, again, I'm using auto here, but if somebody registers on your site, doesn't become a customer, you can upload those those lists of people, email addresses, and show them specific ads. It's a great thing also for retailers if you're collecting people's email addresses in your newsletters or whatever it is. If you want to just run specific campaigns, ad campaigns for those people when they run searches for certain keywords, you can do that using Customer Match. Geo-targeting, I touched on a little bit. Ahmed touched on it a little bit as well, but obviously for local it's huge. I want to show you a little bit of what it looks like for Facebook as well as for AdWords. So for Facebook, what I love is that you can actually target people based on if they live near near where they are. So for example, if they're traveling or they're on vacation, you can run ads specifically to them. Or if they live near there, perhaps you don't want to show certain vacation-related ads to those people, but you can really do a bunch of targeting. You can do people who recently were in a location but left with tailored messaging to maybe come back. We missed you. Here's incentive. Here's a coupon. You can do all of these things with geo-targeting. And the same thing holds true for some of the AdWords options. You can target based on a wide variety of geolocations, whatever is most relevant to your business. So I'd be remiss, obviously calls are a big part of my life and what I do. I'd be remiss if I didn't at least stress the importance when you're optimizing your web pages, not just make them mobile, not just make them local, but make sure that you include prominent calls options for people to call your store, call your dealership, call your insurance agency, whatever, call your bank, whatever local industry you're looking for. So I've got examples, 2 of them for auto, 1 for insurance here. But on the left you can see, if you've got a store locator, which most big businesses do, make sure that you include a clickable phone number in those pages so people can call the store or the dealership before they visit. If you've got your own local pages, so for example the Porsche example in the middle, make sure that you have those prominent calls to action to call either sales or service or whatever it is. And then I liked the State Farm example on the right because they really optimize this page for a call. Sometimes you'll see insurance companies will include a big form for you to fill out more information. But when people are running searches on mobile, they don't want to take the time to fill out a big form on their little phones. They want to just make a call. So State Farm here has a huge call now button right in the middle to try to drive that phone call, which I think is great. So 3 things to measure. Obviously, if you're running Facebook and local search ads, you're obviously measuring the click-through rates and all the online engagement. But here are 3 other things to consider measuring as well. The first is the cross-device estimates that Google now allows you to do. It estimates if somebody starts the purchase journey on one device, maybe they click on an ad on their mobile phone, but they end up converting via e-commerce on their desktop. You can start seeing some, you don't want to lose that attribution piece. Or vice versa, they start doing some research early on for a car, for example, on their desktop. They click on your ad, but they don't do anything. Maybe a month later, they're willing to visit a dealership. They click back, they visit your site again, and they make a call. This is a great way to capture that estimated cross-device conversion path. The second one is the in-store visit. So Ahmed touched on how Facebook is allowing this now or they will shortly for Facebook ads. Here's something where AdWords can do the same. So it can estimate how much foot traffic you're driving from your advertising, which I think is great. It's an estimate. It works based on people's geolocation, but also based on a survey of a large group of people, and it makes estimates and guesses. But usually Google is saying that the number is fairly accurate and indicative of how your ads are performing. And the last, of course, is phone calls. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail in a second on this. But I wanted to at least make sure that, especially in local, when people are so prone to call, that you're able to track that conversion. You don't want to lose attribution when somebody clicks on your Facebook ad, visits your website and calls, or clicks on your search ad, or calls directly from the search ad. You need that attribution piece so you can optimize what's working and what's not. So that stole a little bit of my transition, but I want to at least take a couple slides to talk a little more in detail about this call attribution piece, which I think is extremely important, especially for mobile and for local. So mobile shoppers will convert basically in 4 channels. They'll either through e-commerce on your website or your mobile app, they'll place an order, they'll come to your store, your dealership in person, or they'll make that purchase over the phone. So as marketers, it's extremely important to measure and optimize the entire journey, offline and online, and that includes phone call conversion. So the stat on the right is pretty amazing. It was a survey, a research that showed the number of billions of calls that are generated by different digital advertising channels. So the top one you can see from search, mobile search is driving billions and billions of phone calls, and that number is skyrocketing from 2014 to 2019. In terms of social advertising like Facebook, the yellow line will show how it started off a little bit slow, but as mobile becomes so important to Facebook advertising, people are visiting people are visiting mobile optimized sites from Facebook ads and calling. Those numbers are skyrocketing. So it's really important that you're able to get attribution for those back to the specific channels, ads, keywords, and website activities that drove those calls. And the way to do that is using call attribution software. So it's a great way to prove and improve your ROI, especially when it comes to mobile and digital advertising for local. So call attribution software will track a call from either a call button on the left you can see, or from someone who visits your website, hunts around, and finally makes a call. It'll provide attribution back to the exact channel, ad, search keyword, and website activity that drove that call. So you can understand exactly what's working, what's not working, what's driving those good calls, and you can optimize accordingly. So people always ask me, well, how does that work for a website? So just a quick example. If you're using call attribution in this scenario, someone would click on the ad, specifically that OEM automotive ad I spoke about before. They click on that search ad. They look for a dealership near them. They make a phone call. Call attribution software tracks this call all the way through that journey by dynamically inserting a unique trackable phone number into that scenario, so that each person's session is perfectly tracked, and that call is tied to that specific user, that specific lead, that specific customer, and you can track it all the way back from the marketing source through to the outcome and the purchase process. So Dialog Tech, as I introduced before, is one provider of call attribution software. So again, we show you what drives good calls, what drives bad calls, people who are calling from your marketing, but perhaps they aren't converting. They're not really a sales opportunity or a lead. We'll show you which is good, which is bad, and which activity is driving no phone calls, so you can optimize accordingly. We help with call routing and analyzing the actual conversations that take place from your marketing, and we can integrate that call data with whatever technologies, marketing technologies you're using. So that data can live alongside your online data, as you can see in the Google Analytics example on the right. So why is this so important, and what data can you collect? So again, you can see when you're running your campaigns what marketing channel drove that specific call, what ad variation they saw, if it's a display ad, search ad, Facebook ad, whatever it is. The keywords, of course, huge for search engine optimization and for PPC, the keywords that drove the call, and the web page experience, what click path they took through your site. You can also get a ton of information about the caller themselves, including their location. So if you're doing a national campaign for local stores, local dealerships, you'll know where that person is calling from, and you can route the call appropriately. You can also get information on the actual conversation. So where'd the call go? Who took the call? How long did the call last? That's often indicative of a quality conversation. The longer a call is, maybe depending on your industry, maybe that's a better call for you. Maybe that if you know the sources that are driving those long calls, you can optimize and put more resources and spend to those. So again, the routing piece is important, especially for local. So you can actually route each caller differently automatically based on their location, for example, or the keywords they searched, or the ads they viewed. You can also route based on time of day. So for example, if somebody is searching for a specific, calling you specifically from one time zone or from something else, you can route them based on the time of the day or the day of the week, or based on their caller ID. If they've called you before, you can route them specifically to the right auto sales agent or the right insurance agent who's handled that person in the past. It's really an amazing way to help not only drive conversions, call conversions, but actually convert those callers, help convert those callers to an actual sale. So I wanted to at least mention that Ahmed's with Acquisio, and I'm with Dialog Tech. Both of our platforms work individually, but they also work really great together. So I wanted to at least explain for a second how that works. Basically, if you're using Acquisio's performance marketing tool to optimize your channels, optimize your search, social, or display advertising to drive more conversions and drive down your cost per lead, you can do that awesome for the online piece. If you're using Dialog Tech, you can then import our call data directly into Acquisio and then use that data to optimize for both the online and the offline conversion, which, as we see in mobile and local, is so important. So thanks, everybody. That concludes today's presentation. We do have a little bit of time for some Q&A. So again, if you want to ask your questions down in the left, we'll get to as many as we can. I know we don't have a ton of time. But I did want to at least say that if you're interested in learning more about Dialog Tech's call attribution platform, please visit our website. And if you want to learn more about Acquisio's performance marketing platform, there's some amazing technology there for Facebook as well as search and display optimization. Please visit the Acquisio website, and I'm sure they'd be really happy to talk to you and walk you through it. So let me take a deep breath. Let me have a glass of water, and I will start diving into some of the questions that we have. I did want to remind people I got a bunch of questions about recordings and slides. We will make those available via email within 24 hours of the webinar.
Great. Now, Blair, as you're taking a break, I could possibly answer a couple of questions that I believe were about local awareness ads.
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. So Veronica, regarding medical office and advertising your services for a medical office, definitely, real photos will always work better than stock photos. There are certain cases where you can use stock photos that are going to be more so very generic. Those would work, particularly when you are limited to having the tools in place to actually take a proper photo, because Facebook really encourages people to have good high definition quality photos, and even better if you have video format in your ad. They tend to provide the advertisers with more inventory for ads that carry video. So even better if you do have a video. And then definitely with photos, it's always recommended to have some text overlay. Just make sure you're not covering more than 20% of the ad with any text, as Facebook will not approve the ad if the text takes more than 20% of the picture.
So Ahmed, we do have a bunch of questions for Facebook. Maybe you can answer one more while I've got you on the line. So what about? Okay, so this question is around creating local awareness ads for multiple locations. So do you have any tips perhaps around how to create local awareness ads if the business has multiple stores or multiple dealerships or multiple locations?
Definitely. So advertisers with multiple business locations can use local awareness ads to build really dynamic Facebook campaigns locally and relevant to each of their stores. And really, there's a bunch of benefits that would come with that. You have a streamlined ad creation, so you can create ads for all your locations at once with a map card and relevant call to action button associated with each store. You can also be you can have dynamic creatives, so you can have a dynamic creative template, for example, to create locally relevant ads for audiences around your stores. You also have some really detailed geographic ads insights for that.
What about, well, this is a sort of a general question, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. What do you see, what would you recommend more? Would you recommend the Google or Facebook for local businesses? And I have some thoughts as well, but why don't you kick us off?
Definitely, it's definitely a tough one, but we have to agree that they're not entirely the same. But for most businesses, what I recommend is you definitely want to test on Facebook and test on Google. But chances are that one channel will have a higher return on investment than the other. A lot of businesses think advertising on social media won't work for them. I tend to think that's not the case, especially with how the direction Facebook is going. They're tending to step into Google's turf more and more. But even if they have tried it and it failed, the more likely reason is that they made the mistake of thinking it's like Google. And you cannot be creating ads on Facebook thinking and behaving like it's like Google. The main difference between the two is that Google is best for immediate sales. Facebook is best for lead generation and brand awareness.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think an interesting idea is the auto space. So, for example, Facebook came out with a study about last year that said that people who are looking to buy a car, they often start their research process 6 or 7 months in advance, and they often don't know what kind of car they're looking for. They haven't narrowed down their options. So Facebook is a great way to get your ads in front of those people to help influence them when they're not sure what they want yet. And then when And then when they're ready to convert, and visit a dealership or learn more, that's when the Google or search ads comes into play. So it's the idea that you can influence people's thought process by showing them ads on Facebook, and then maybe capture that conversion through search. I know there's some stats that show how display ads and Facebook ads, if someone, even though people might not convert directly on those, they often influence the searches. So people will run more searches for your brand if they see your Facebook and your display ads. So I think they all work together. I don't think one's necessarily better than the other. I think that there are definitely use cases.
Definitely, and it also, it definitely varies on the type of product you have, right? Like I'm not going to go on Google to search for a razor, right? But if I get an ad on Facebook that shows a nice innovative razor that I can shave, that I can use to shave, then I'm more likely to go on, to go on that site through Facebook and purchase it. But I wouldn't make a search on Google for that.
We're almost out of time, but let me get one more question for you while I've got you.
Sure.
So there's a question around targeting options for local awareness ads. I know we touched on some of these, and I touched on some as well, but do you want to summarize some of the targeting options that you recommend for local awareness ads?
Definitely. So targeting options for local awareness ads is somewhat limited compared to other ad types. But obviously, you're using local awareness ads because you want to target people who are around you in the area within a certain radius or a particular address. So right now there are 3 targeting options available for local awareness ads for businesses who want to promote for doing promotions. You have location, so you choose a radius around the address between 1 and 50 miles. And it's actually, I think, around 1 to 70 kilometers if you're outside the U.S. And then there's age, where you can choose an age range between 13 to 65 years old. And you also have gender, so you can choose between men, women, or both genders. There's definitely plans for Facebook to add more segmentation and targeting options around local awareness ads, so definitely be on the lookout for that.
So thanks, everybody. I know we got lots of questions. We didn't get to all of them, but we'll be happy to follow up individually with people if we didn't get to your question. But I want to thank everybody again for attending. Look in your inbox for an email from me for the recording for this webinar, and if you want a copy of the slides, which apparently many of you do, just reply, and I'll send those to you. So thanks again. This was great. Thank you, Ahmed, for joining me from Acquisio. This has been fantastic, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you, Blair, and thank you to all the viewers who came in. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It was great.